What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video, a Monday morning edition of the Trojan Update, a Michigan week edition of the Trojan Update. Huge week, really feel like we're going to learn a ton about this team come Saturday afternoon. I am actually recording this Sunday night, just got finished watching the Bears-Texans game. That was absolutely infuriating, but we will go over that more in the USC and the NFL segment at the end of this video. But yeah, huge week coming up here for SC. But yeah, we have a ton to talk about today. We have the brand new AP poll. We have some big Michigan injury news. And if you thought there was any chance I was not going to bring up UCLA getting absolutely annihilated at home by Indiana, you were sorely mistaken. But guys, if you are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for being here this morning. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first. USC is, of course, on the road this weekend at Michigan. Now, when you took a look at the spread in the preseason, I believe I saw the line as high as Michigan favored by 10.5 points. Well, that has completely shifted now that it is game week, and USC is now minus 6.5 over at DraftKings. Think about what a massive swing that is. Going from 10.5 point underdogs to 6.5 point favorites on the road at the big house in Michigan. Now, obviously, yes, a lot of that has to do with Michigan looking very suspect against Fresno State, getting blasted by Texas, and then really having a stinker out there against Arkansas State this Saturday. But that also tells you that what USC is putting out on the field is being respected by Vegas. You're seeing a lot of national pundits be really high on USC, including Josh Pate, PicKell, Joel Klatt, I could go on. But 6.5 on the road really tells you something. That of course means that if this was a neutral site game, it'd probably be 9.5 or 10. Which if you would have told people that 2 months ago, they would have just laughed at you. So if you needed a vote of confidence for this weekend, there it is. Very, very cool to see USC's great performances reflected in that number. But sticking with Michigan, we of course don't know what quarterback we're going to see because Davis Warren had an absolute nightmare outing against Arkansas State. I thought this tweet was hilarious. Why did Davis Warren get benched? Every one of his passes has been completed. He, of course, went 11 of 14 with 3 picks. So yes, every single pass he threw did get caught by somebody. But yeah, he had 3 picks against Arkansas State, and man, they were brutal. That kid does not see the field. Really, really weak arm. Obviously has a fantastic story having to battle leukemia in high school, but taking that out of it and just looking on the field, this kid is a disaster. No way in hell Sharon Moore sends his kid out there again. So what I'm expecting from Michigan is a heavy dose of Alex Orji in the run game, and quite simply, they're going to challenge us physically. They are going to want to run the ball downhill, and if we don't respond, we're going to be in trouble. But with what we've shown in these first 2 weeks, I feel very confident about our chances in that. This is not the Michigan offensive line of last year. They are not nearly as solid as they have been. This is not going to be a Joe Moore finalist offensive line. USC's D-line has held up very well in the run game, so it is going to be a challenge, but I do think it's one we're going to be up for. The biggest key in that game Saturday is just going to be getting a lead, because if we can get ahead and they have no choice but to throw the ball, I'm pretty sure the game's over. Davis Warren can't throw the ball clearly. How bad must Alex Orji have been in camp to not be a starter over Davis Warren? And they do have a third option that does have some experience, but that would be wild by Sharon Moore to throw that kid out there. We are also awaiting some massive injury news for Michigan. You see here Michigan tight end Colston Loveland injured and win, status unclear for USC. Now Colston Loveland is the Michigan pass offense. He's our best player on offense by a country mile. Donovan Edwards, the halfback, in my opinion, is grossly overrated. Colston Loveland, however, is not. The dude's a stud, a mauler in the run game, great hands, great yak ability as well. Big time weapon for them at the tight end spot. If he's out, that's a massive blow for the Wolverines. So I will keep you guys posted on that during the week. If there is an update, I will have it posted here for you. Now let's take a look at the brand new AP poll. So you see it on your screen right now. USC remains at number 11. So you're telling me we beat number 16 LSU, we absolutely throttled and shut out Utah State, who just took Utah to a very, very close game, a lot closer than the scoreboard indicated. Those are our 2 wins. And we're at number 11 behind schools like Penn State that struggle with Bowling Green, Oregon that has 2 very shaky performances on their resume already, Missouri, who's done absolutely nothing. Ole Miss, who's done absolutely nothing. It's ridiculous that we are still at 11. This entire voting AP poll process is completely just so stupid. It's outdated. It doesn't make any sense. The entire process needs to be completely torn down and built back up, because whatever it is we're doing here is an absolute joke. Now, speaking of absolute jokes, let's talk about UCLA football. So the Baby Bruins were home to Indiana this week and got absolutely hammered 42-13. Now, I watched this game. It was an absolute comedy special. I was laughing my ass off. It was fantastic to watch. This Bruin team is absolutely terrible. Just garbage. Every single level, offense, defense, special teams. Like I've said on Twitter multiple times, they look exactly like a team that hired a running back coach to run their program. We all knew that the little brother Bruins were going to embarrass us in the new Big Ten, but man, I didn't think it would be this bad, getting absolutely drilled at home to a school like Indiana. Shout out to my man Big Ten Ted for giving the Bruins a nice welcome on Twitter. Absolutely hilarious, and it's very nice to see the Bruins back where they belong as one of the laughing stocks of college football. Next up, I wanted to do a little flashback to the Utah State game. So the other day I went on PFF just to look at the player grades from that game, and I had noticed that in the updated player grades, Quentin Joyner was actually our highest graded offensive player. So I went back and watched every single snap of his, and man, I just want to say that I really think that game is going to be a springboard for him. I mean, I really do. One of the biggest problems with Quentin up to that game is that he was just way too hesitant. I mean, he's a big, fast, physical guy, but you wouldn't know that from watching his previous games. But in this game, he just looked like a totally different player. He had that confidence that you see in those older backs. He looked like he really knew what he was looking at. He was very confident. He was very decisive. On this channel, I've said he's our highest upside player on offense outside of Zachariah Branch. And if the Utah State game wasn't a one-off and he takes that next step, we have a dynamic and explosive weapon on our hands for the rest of the year. And man, if we're going to be running the ball as much as we did in that Utah State game, we're going to need him to be that level of player. So fantastic from him. Couldn't be more thrilled about what we're going to see from Quentin this Saturday against Michigan. All right, now wrapping up with USC in the NFL. We'll start with the Bears game because I just finished watching that. That was one of the more frustrating games I've seen in a long time. This is a crazy stat. So get this, Caleb Williams threw the ball 37 times. He got pressured 36 times. 37 throws, 36 pressures. And that's not even taking into account when he got sacked. And it's not like he was holding onto the ball and doing all the crazy Caleb Williams stuff. He had zero time in this one. If the Bears offensive line is going to play like that the remainder of this year, he's going to get killed. I mean, I don't see how he stays healthy. He's a big, tough, strong guy, but man, he can't withstand all that. He was getting beat up in this one really bad. And the Texans are a for real team. They're a contender in the AFC, but man, the mismatch was so bad in the trenches. I'm very worried for Caleb going forward. Also, that Shane Waldron offense, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Don't know what the identity is. Don't know what they're trying to do. They had to have known that the offensive line was going to be a problem. They had the whole offseason. Why couldn't they implement some more Kyle Shanahan West Coast style stuff? Get Caleb out on boots, get him away from pressure. I don't know what they were doing, but it was incredibly frustrating, and I am worried for Caleb's health going forward this year. But on a brighter note, let's talk about Sammy Darnold. What do you know? Sam finally has a competent coach, great weapons around him, and a chance to play football. And he looks phenomenal. He was great in this one again for Minnesota. Sam is following that Geno Smith ex-Jets resurgence. And man, I couldn't be happier for him. He's had a rough go of it so far in the NFL. And call me a homer or whatever, but I don't blame him for a lot of it. Getting drafted to the Jets and working with Adam Gase, I mean, that'll ruin any quarterback. But Sam's fought through it. He's so resilient. And to see him come out on the other side and have this golden opportunity in front of him and see him seize it, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy for him. And man, the Vikings are a fun watch right now. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go watch the highlights from their win over San Francisco. He had a 97-yard bomb to Justin Jefferson that traveled like 58 yards through the air. It was an absolute dot. Gorgeous throw from Sam. And again, so happy for him. All right, guys, that will do it for today's Trojan update. We are sure to have more Trojan news going forward this week, so I will be covering it all here on the channel. Obviously, a very big game this Saturday with it being Michigan week. Big opportunity in front of us. Cannot wait to see what happens on the field. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.